Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Anthony. I'm excited for this episode because this is Extra Credit Fridays where we go back, we revisit those iconic conversations for some of our most amazing guests. And today we are back with none other than Tay Sweat. That's right, Tay Sweat is back on the show. And I'm excited for this because when you think about this clip, it's important to make sure that you're always staying true to yourself. And for Tay, what was most important was he wanted to be what he did not see, right? Someone that looked like him, someone that looked like where he came from, becomes successful. And Tay is a well-known investor, trader, traveler. Sit back and enjoy this week's Extra Credit Friday with Tay Sweat. And when you talk about trading, I think one of the things that makes you unique in the space, and we talked about it offline, is that I think people resonate with you, fam. I think people see you and they see what's possible, but you look like us. At the end of the day, you don't code switch. I tell people all the time, some of the best people in life that make it the furthest in life are those who can walk into any room and remain themselves. What has helped you to stay true to you and not code switch?
Man, I honestly, I did it for us. I did it for our people, because when I was growing up, I'm looking for that avatar, that person who looks like me, who still talks like me, who's getting money, but they didn't have to, sell drugs. They didn't have to, I thought I was gonna have to go play basketball. That was
Mm-hmm.
one of my first loves, but that didn't work out. So I'm like, okay, well, who looks like me, who didn't sell out? They're still dressing, because we are a product of our environment, right? We are a hip hop culture. So we like the jewelry, we like the fancy jewelry, the
Mm-hmm.
watches, the gold, we like the cars, and that's what we do, right? But who's to go and say that you can't have all of that stuff by doing something that's legal and playing a game that can make you a bunch of money like you're a non-traditional person?
Mm.
You know, right? So for me, man, I just wanted to keep it. I wanted to keep it real. I wanted to keep it to the point where it's like, look, I'm going to be that avatar that I was looking for because I didn't have it. So I said,
Oh,
hey,
man.
I'll get this money and I'll look like us still. I'll talk like us. I got my hair, I got my beard. I still keep it real. I drive the cars that I always wanted to drive that I knew.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I do, man. So I do it for us. That's exactly what I do it for.
That's real, man. I think like that's how you become special. I recently met Allen Iverson in the DMV area, and even to this day, like you see him. Of course, he has the aura, but you can see how he's still him. And I think that's what attracted so many people from the culture to him. Still to this day, as like that person who like went different against everybody else, right? He wore the do rag, he had the braids, he kept it who he was. But still to this day, I feel like people were and still are intimidated by him, right? Because he doesn't fit in. And the reason why I say that is because it's so relatable to you. You know what I'm saying? I think people might watch how you move. People might watch how you talk, and almost like that Allen Iverson effect, where people are, intimidated. Like for someone that's listening right now, who has that same commonality that we both share, and they're asking themselves, how do I navigate through this, right? Like, why do you think people, feel that way in terms of Tay Sweat?
You know, I think the intimidation comes from two parts, man. One, our people get intimidated about the thing that we thought we had to do, but because we're not doing it, it's intimidating. So, for example, you mentioned code switching. A lot of our people think, yeah, man, if you want to get, white people money, you got to talk, you got to dress, and you got to move like white people. And it's not true. It's not true. So when you see someone who's not conforming to that, they're not following that game plan of, code switching, it's kind of scary. And as a matter of fact, because it's against the norm, it's against the grain. And once again, in our community, the only time we see a black person who does not code switch and they make a lot of money, they're either one or two things. They're a drug dealer or they're an athlete. And those two people are pretty, they're pretty intimidating to some people
Mm-hmm.
because, your athlete is this big, tall, strong, person who will smack you up if you get in the way. So some people get intimidated by that. And then, of course, the drug dealer. we know they're intimidating, right?
Yep.
You know, they probably got a piece on you, you know, like you just never know, right? So it's like, man, these are two dangerous beings. So now when we see someone who's black with money who never code switched, you go, dang, that's intimidating. That's
Mm.
intimidating. You dangerous. You're dangerous. So that's kind of how I've always interpreted. But that's also why. So right now I'm working on a book called "FU Money."
Oh, I like the title of
You
that.
know what I mean? And I'm writing a book for this same question, man. For the same reason you asked me, you know, why is it intimidating? One, I want to make it a norm. I want
Mm.
to talk about what FU money actually is because it's attainable by us, right? It's attainable. But number two, I wanted to kind of lay out those principles of how do you get the FU money because we kind of been lost. Like how do we get here?
That's a book there, man.
Right? So I lay it all out, and it's gonna make some people uncomfortable because I talk about some stuff, man. Like people who are having babies. I'm like, why are you still having sex? Right? Like maybe you need to stop having sex for a while. I have people who are always asking these questions. I can't come up. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Why are you celebrating? You smoking? You drinking? You going
Mm.
out partying? That's money we can hold on to and we can reinvest. Why are we using it for drugs and alcohol and parties? So I'm really gonna take the people through it, man, and get you to the promised land if you want to go.